Hello everyone, this is at CD's Pick Stories. I hope you're having a nice October. As you know, Halloween is just around the corner, so I thought that today it would be a great idea to read aloud one of my horror stories, The Tine. Just a warning, this is a scary story, so I'd recommend using your judgment. It may also be too frightening for younger viewers. I'd recommend it for about 12 and up. I'll be showing some of my Inktober drawings in the background, even if they don't necessarily pertain to the story, for a spooky effect. The story can be found in my new horror anthology, House of Horror, link in the description. This particular story, however, can also be found in the demo version of the book on my Wattpad account, link also in the description. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Now, turn off the lights, grab a cup of tea or coffee, bundle up with a blanket, and prepare to be afraid. It's pretty easy to get bored on the internet. It's such a big and vast place that after a while, you don't even know what you're doing anymore. That's exactly what's happening to me right now. I was off from school, and I was on my computer, watching some videos. I started off watching cartoon reviews, but I soon got off on a tangent. Eventually, I was watching a video about serious topics in children's shows and a forgotten Danish animation. Then there came another video. This video is a list of the scariest internet horror stories. Number 8, a story about a haunted mansion, freaked me out. I was so worked up that I looked for articles about relaxing after reading a scary story. In the article I found, it discussed a myriad of ways to relax. One suggestion was to find silly stories. Another was to assure yourself that the story was not real. At one point, it mentioned another horror story, one I've never heard of. The Tine. Out of sheer curiosity, I looked at the story and read it. I found the original on a special website designed for internet horror stories. Here is what it read. The Tine is said to be a horrific monster that dwells in suburban towns in the U.S. There have been reports of people who have been killed by the beast. It is said to have long horns and covered in hair. It is a dog, only it has the shape of a human. While there are many renditions and copies of the photograph, like this one, that float about the internet, only one is authentic. This photograph is almost impossible to find and hidden in only the greatest depths of the internet. Anyone who views the photo is said to have the Tine enter their home in the middle of the night. It will hide in your closet. Then while you lie in your bed, it will come up to you and kill you. I thought the story was kind of stupid. It wasn't even grammatically correct. The picture was cheesy. It was a low-resolution photograph of a wide-eyed man wearing dog ears and smiling maniacally. Yet somehow, I couldn't help but feel unsettled. I went back to the other search results, where I then found a sarcastic news article talking about the story and giving a couple of vague, unconvincing reasons why it wasn't true. Unfortunately, I read to the end of the article. I felt a dropping sensation in the pit of my stomach. My face grew warm, and my hands became icy. Agonizing terror pierced through my body. There was a different picture of the Tine. This time, it didn't look like a man. Instead, it looked like a dog with a human face. This was a clear, bright, high-quality image of a monstrous horror that my mind could not even dare comprehend. I didn't know what to do to alleviate my fear. The image was stained in my brain. Maybe I could treat it without the aid of the internet. I tried reading a book, watching a colorful cartoon, eating some chocolate, but I was still unsettled by the mere thought of the Tine. It didn't matter that it was just a picture of someone's pet dog, which had been massacred in Photoshop. The dark edges, the glaring eyes, they were absolutely terrifying, and the fact that I actually did have a large closet did not make things any better. When I laid down in bed, ready to sleep, I felt nervous. When I shut off the lights, it was far worse. It was unbearable. Turning around, I was constantly looking over my shoulder for the imaginary monster. I kept getting up and checking my closet non-stop. What if it was there? This was getting ridiculous. I knew that unless I cleared this thing up, I wasn't sleeping tonight. I walked over to my desk, picked up my computer, and brought it over to my bed. I looked up the Tine on the internet again. I looked through more articles, desperate to find something, anything disproving it. None of them went into much depth, simply joking about being killed by the monster. It wasn't helpful. I found a video about it, showing terrifying pictures of the creature. In desperation, I found another one talking sarcastically about the Tine being real. It barely calmed my nerves. I returned to the articles, I went to the second page, third page, fourth page. It had now completely lost relevancy. Next thing I knew, I was scrolling through websites about forks and knives. Finally, at the last page, I found something. A website with the title, Fakeness of Tine Photographs. There was no information below it. What was even the point of clicking it? In desperation, I clicked the link. The website took a few seconds to buffer. And that is when I saw my mistake. In the middle of a blank website was a photograph of the Tine, except it looked nothing like what I saw before. This Tine was not blurred, nor was it a man or a dog. It was a clear, colored picture of what looked somewhat like a human, only it had a long snout and a very wide mouth, brimming with sharp, pointed teeth. It had no ears. I shut my computer in horror. That was the true picture of the Tine. I knew I had to go to sleep. This was just a nonsense story. There was no Tine, but it was difficult to convince myself as I laid in the darkness, curled up in my bed covers. Then I thought I heard a bark. I was afraid to open my eyes. My closet was in front of the foot of the bed. I didn't look there. I told myself there was nothing there. But if there was nothing there, why was I afraid to look? The barking continued, and I assumed that it was a dog from outside. It was getting louder. Then I heard a low growl. I sat up and looked forward. My blood ran cold. There was something there. It looked like a human man, but it had a something like the dog's face. A long snout, a wide mouth, no ears. The story was true after all. And now, it was too late. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope none of you have any closets. Anyway, once again, you can find my story and drawings in the description. Good night, if you can sleep.